Hey guys, it's Tuesday, Tuesday afternoon, just about 1:15, and as I turned my phone on and got ready to go live, I noticed that there was a live session that had sort of been in progress, and I apologize if anyone tried to tune in on that and got confused. It appears that I butt dialed myself. Um, that's a hazard of walking briskly in the morning before the sun comes up, not using a light, um, and fumbling around with the phone in order to um, record something. I recorded the moon shimmering on the pond, my local pond, although I had a comment on the video, on the short, where someone said that it was a LED light and water, which actually I don't even know what that fully means, but it's ridiculous. Um, it's always weird when someone seeks to deny the experience that you had versus you get that quite often if you try to relay a meditation experience or some sort of transcendental um, experience that you've had in nature or in, again, deep meditation or in breath work or holding a yoga posture for a certain amount of time, and even ultra running or things along those lines. Anything that take you outside of the sphere of the mind and puts you in the isness, the naturalness, the reality of reality. And you really can't describe it as an experience, although experience is the best word that I can think of. You don't describe it as an experience because it's beyond experience. There's not an experiencer there. There is just participation, and the entire universe is at play within that participation. There's not a single participant, it's just participating. And it struck me similar when I saw the moon reflected on the water. And it was only then, after that moment, when the thought occurred to me to record it. If the thought comes first to record, then I think you might have lost the moment, which is okay. Uh, but that's the price you pay for having having that urge, having that urge to share. Some moments like that, they simply can't be shared. They exist on their own within a fluidity of everything. And by the time, again, any kind of thought occurs, that moment in and of itself is gone. So the transcendence of the moment with the moon shimmering on the pond um, wasn't fully caught, but the after effects, that was there. Um, for someone to come along afterwards and say, it reminds me again of the story told by um, Anthony de Mello, the Jesuit priest, born and raised in India, though, and he retained that yogic, Vedic, Buddhist quality in his thinking, even as he was in the clergy. And he actually told the story as originally told by J. Krishnamurti about young boys watching these magical winged creatures soaring through the air, playing in the breeze, and being mesmerized by seeing that, until an older adult authority figure came walking by and said, "Oh, that's a sparrow. It's just a bird," and walked away. And in that moment, you could say that's when we really started growing up. We lost the magic because things now had labels. It was a bird. Every time we saw him, we just saw a bird. Maybe a little bit of that mystery was retained, but it soon started to fade. If we're lucky, we can keep it for a long time. If we're luckier, we regain it in our adulthood. And to me, that's always been the magic of spirituality. I run in some circles, specifically some non-duality circles, where the term spirituality is frowned upon. However, I like it. It's just a way of expressing the turning away from the material aspects of the world solely and more into the immateriality. That was a tough word to get out. Of existence itself. And knowing that it goes both ways, that the immaterial is what allows for the material to take place, and the material in and of itself is no more, in reality, immaterial. It goes back to the Heart Sutra, emptiness being form, form being emptiness. The key operative word, no matter how you say it, emptiness is form, form is emptiness, emptiness being form, form being emptiness, is in being, implying that it is at once the same thing. Not one thing changing to the other or having the capability of reverting back. It's one thing at once. And this is where I always like to use my desk as an example, because I pound on it and you can hear me tapping it. That the desk is very material, very solid. I write on it every morning. Every time I have a conversation, I end up tapping a rhythm out on it. At the same time, it consists of cells and molecules and atoms and particles, and within that space between the particles, it's 99.90 infinite number 9% emptiness. It's immaterial. This desk that I'm pounding on, that I stub my toe on virtually 3 or 4 times a week, is immaterial. And yet, I'm able to pound on it. I'm able to write my writing every morning, and I'm able to, unfortunately, stub my toe every morning. So it's not immaterial becoming a desk. It's immaterial being a desk. It's emptiness being. It's an amazing thing to consider, because that is exactly, nothing is outside of that realm of reality. That means everything is emptiness being, including us, which is the whole essence of non-duality, the whole essence of Dzogchen, the more mystical branch of Tibetan Buddhism. It is awakening in Zen. It is, we could even call it the realization of the absolute in Christianity. It is the realization of emptiness. The clearest, most direct pointing teachings I've ever encountered have been Douglas Harding's The Headless Way. Hence the name of my blog, Headless Now. And it's something that I give myself permission, give myself the opportunity to revert to my, or to recognize would be a better word, my headlessness throughout the day, most especially when I'm in nature, because it allows me to realize myself as capacity. And capacity means that it is emptiness that holds the material. It's the space within the vase that holds the flowers, as they say in Zen. It's the silence between the notes that makes the song. So, The Headless Way, Douglas Harding, was a British architect, but more importantly, he was a mystic. He had a curious mind. He was raised in a very strict, almost cult-like Christian sect. I forget the name of it, but they have no outside reading material other than the Bible and a specific edition of the Bible, of course. They don't associate with people outside the sect. Very limited contact with the world outside of their family and other people in that practice. And yet, with his curious mind, he somehow stepped out, and he encountered Zen and the Christian mystics, other schools of non-duality. But more importantly, he discovered that emptiness himself and on his own. Two things happened. He saw a painting of, I can't remember the author or the artist. He was, let's look this up. Almost ashamed not to give all the details. It's the author who did the self-portrait, and he ended with his head not being cut off, but just not showing it, but he did have the outline of a mustache. And that sort of planted a seed in Douglas Harding's mind. Later, during the war years, and he was in the Himalayan mountains, and he happened to look down and sort of allow his line of vision to travel up his body until he realized that he had no head. You can think it was lack of altitude, being in the Himalayan mountains, but it's a deep and profound realization. You have never seen your head before. You've never seen your face. You've seen reflections of your face in the mirror. You've seen photographs. You might have seen a drawing. If you look, you might see the rim of your glasses. You might see the tip of your nose. You might see your lips if you push the lips out. You might see the tip of a mustache. But does that constitute a face? More importantly, where does all that emerge from? Where does the tip of the nose emerge from? Where does the outline of your mustache come from? All of that emerges from this great nothingness that you can witness, that you can find yourself as just by looking. The way you do that is simply point. I can take you through the whole experiment, as Douglas Harding used to call him, as well as Richard Lang, who still teaches the headless way. But no need. You can do it simply by pointing. The key is to approach it with curiosity and innocence, openness, playfulness. Simply point and travel in the direction, look in the direction, search in the direction of which you are pointing. I'm not looking at the finger. I want to look this way. And what do I see? I see absolutely nothing, especially if I'm looking for a face, if I'm looking for a head, and I'm experiencing that sense of headlessness right now, complete emptiness. And yet, within this emptiness, this entire room, the camera, the computer in front of me, the desk, my hands, all of it's simply emerging from this great nothingness. And all there is awareness. That's it. That's awakening. That's Zen. All you need to do. Point and look. And then you reside from there. Once you get that emptiness is form, form is emptiness, you can do that experiment anytime, and you're right there again, and explore the world from that perspective. It's a wonderful place to be. Our friend Destiny Forever Walks, PhD, is here, who was doing some serious walking on the treadmill as well as jumping rope, wearing heels. Amazing. I'm not going to try it. You have my word on that. And our friend Odom's Homestead is here. Hey, just a Yogi doing burpees in his basement. Odom, how are you? How's the weather there in Tennessee? And Richard Runs Trails is here. Hello, everyone. Hi, Richard. How are you? Richard, that Georgetown race looks awesome. So I was talking about Zen, headlessness, the Heart Sutra, but I don't have to continue that. I was going to talk about briefly, let's see, Odom says 56 degrees and raining. Sorry about the rain, although I guess for you, you know, you have an appreciative way of viewing the rain because of what it's going to do for you, for the ground, preparing everything. Although I guess you can't plant while it's raining. Richard says, let's see, yeah, a nice one, 5 minutes from my house, which is nice. Yeah, those are always nice. We have 2 or 3 50Ks that are, I think one's about 10 minutes away. We got another one that's probably about 5 minutes away that they have every year. A couple others that are 20. This is a really nice area that I live in for ultra running. It allowed me to get in a lot of races without doing a ton of traveling, although we did travel quite a bit for races. Odom says, yes, need the rain, just planted a few new trees. Awesome for the trees. I'm glad that they're receiving what they need. Destiny says, 56 degrees and rain is pretty nippy and cold, Odom. I think that depends, Destiny. 56 here is actually pretty nice. If we get a 56-degree today, and we did actually today, right around there, in February, we're pretty fortunate. Later in the week, I think we're going to get up in the mid to high 60s. Richard says 70s here, which is perfect. And I suppose it gets hot pretty quickly for you, Richard. I would imagine by April, you're in the 80s. Odom says, a little cold, Destiny, but getting up to 62 today. Yeah, I think by the end of the week, we're going to get in the 60s, but we're going to get some rain. Unfortunately for the rain, because I just found a place where 2 hawks have established a nest literally across the street from my house, and I'm hoping to do some more filming. I got a pretty weak camera, but Mocha has, on my phone, Mocha has a monocular lens to hook on her phone camera, and she gets some pretty great shots. So all the really up-close stuff that you see have been taken by Mocha on my shorts. Richard says, yes, getting hot fast, but we'll get colder later this week. Do you guys ever experience any snow at all down there? Or is it such a rarity that it's not even worth mentioning? Destiny says, most important Odom, your new trees need the rain. Definitely. Always the planting takes priority. Richard says, maybe one day every 2 years. I spent the night in where was it? I can't remember the name. It was in Texas, Tyler, Texas. And it was freezing. It's one of the coldest days. I flew down there from Maryland, and I went from probably mid 50s or so here in Maryland to in the 20s and 30s in Tyler, Texas. Did not spend too much time in Tyler. Less than a day, actually. Odom says, still doing my workouts, just not uploading anymore. I don't want to push the channel. What's the reason for not wanting to push the channel? Just priorities? I remember you mentioning snow this year, Odom. Sometimes we'll skip snow up here. I think last year it only snowed twice, and it didn't amount to anything. So far this year, we've gotten 4 or 5 snow, several inches. Every couple of years, we'll get a blizzard sweep through, and we'll get 1-2 feet of snow, sometimes even more. It is what it is this year. Good morning, YouTube family. Lewis, I missed seeing you posts this weekend. I know you did Saturday with the J, but I didn't see anything, I think yesterday or Sunday. Although I know you didn't take a day off. Or you didn't take a day off from burpees. You might have taken a day off from filming. Odom says, just too much with the other channel, still on the fence about YouTube. Yeah, I know that's been something you've been going back and forth with. Personally, Odom, I've mentioned before, I absolutely love your channel. I think you have so much to offer. And not even for a particular group of people. I think anyone who has any interest in seeing what's involved in just growing stuff. And you present it in such an interesting way. Lewis says, from filming, yes. Of course, I had no doubt that you got your reps in. But I can imagine, Odom, that what you do is, you know, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort, and a lot of creativity. And I'm not even talking about your channel, just on the growing aspect, just on the planting and the care, that I could see how adding in a YouTube channel, you know, might present its own challenges and add to that a little bit. Richard says, Lewis is going to show his summer 8-pack soon from all his hard work. Yeah, he's getting there. He's already got the shirtless Saturdays down packed. Speaking of all the hard work, Richard, how's your training going? As you start running more, are you still going to emphasize the bench press? Are you still going to shoot for that 300-pound bench? Which also reminds me, I want to ask Osiris next time he comes in. It's been a couple months since he's maxed out on his bench. He hit 245 a while back, but I haven't seen him. I haven't seen him go that heavy or close to it in quite some time. Let's see. Lewis says, was dealing with the foot cramp anyway that I got while doing burpees Saturday, so nothing impressive to show. Well, at this point, Lewis, the fact that you're doing burpees after what you've been through, it's all impressive. Every day is impressive. Destiny says, Odom, I can understand the stress or pressure, but it's always good to keep your channel active. Don't want to miss that. If you only upload one video per week. I agree with Destiny. As I always do, as a matter of fact. Odom says, thank you. I just don't think YouTube is for me. It's getting to be more about YouTube and less about my passion for growing. I definitely understand that. But you know what? That's easily switched. Easily fixed. Just share your passion and don't worry about anything else. Share the passion for growing. And when you feel the urge to share it, you share it. When you don't, you don't. But always focus on that passion as number one. Because it's the passion that's going to carry you through all the way. I can definitely understand that. It is what it is. Says, I'm almost 245 pounds on my bench. Just a little scared because of my chest. 245 is a strong bench, Lewis. and I can understand being scared. No hurry at all, especially if you're still healing or as you're still healing. Richard says, yeah, I'm pushing hard on powerlifting, on bench, ramping up the running, and starting a skiing tournament. Well, which I would do 10 meters per day in March with Concept 2. Funny you mentioned Concept 2. I was talking to Milk about that. I'm getting there. I'm getting a little bit of a competitive urge, but I don't want to, as of yet, get back into ultras. And by competitive, I don't necessarily mean I'm competing against anyone else. I'm trying to beat anyone else. But just that there's something about entering a competition and training for a competition that heightens the entire experience of training for me. I thought about kettlebell sport again, just doing it lightly. Not sure I'm ready for that. Both of those things, ultra running and kettlebell sport, I did for a decade each. And I'm not sure if I want to take that step back, although I very well might. I'm thinking about a Concept 2 rower and doing some basement rowing competitions. If I can afford a rower. I can get one refurbished, a little less expensive, and they hold up very well. So we'll see. So it says, thank you, Eric, and you're welcome. Destiny says, got you, Odom, just follow your heart. Always good advice. And really listen to the heart. A lot of times we confuse what our ego wishes and wants with what our heart says. This is why Jack Kornfield, the Buddhist author, meditation instructor, wrote his book, A Path with a Heart. And he got that from Carlos Castaneda. Since I got Google here in front of me. We're going to Google that up. Choosing a path with heart. Choosing a path with heart. Destiny says, listen to your body, Lewis. The body knows exactly what it needs and what it doesn't need, which is true. And again, it goes back to, mistaking the ego for the voice of the body. Destiny's 100% correct. The body knows, but then we start listening to the ego saying, you know what? You don't need the rest day. You don't need to go light. You don't need a recovery day. Let's see how many reps you can get. Let's shoot for a PR, or let's, and this is where YouTube can come in, as Odom was saying. And you don't do something for the passion of what you love. You don't do it for the love of burpees. You do it because somebody might be watching. But when you listen to your body, you're more in tune. You listen to the body is the way to spirit. People often think that, the way to spirit is not through the physical, but it's the physical that connects us to the earth, that connects us to the air, that connects us to the heavens. You listen to your body because the body is composed of the elements of the universe. So if you want the truth, you listen to the body. If you listen to your mind, you get 1,000 different thoughts from 1,000 different sources, all telling you one thing after another. You got the ego telling you to do this because it's going to look good on social media. Always better to, I'm not saying ignore the mind or ignore the thoughts, but consider the source. Listen to the body. And by listening to the body, get in tune with the centers, with the energetic centers of the body. Your heart's not going to steer you wrong, but you got to learn to listen to your heart. You got to turn within and literally tune in, and your heart will tell you where to go. That's the path with heart. So we're going to do a couple of different quotes here in a minute. Let me catch up. Lewis says, competitive as it gets hotter. I also get the urge get that urge. I love the summer. Yeah. Odom says, I've been doing 1 or 2 live streams a week for over a year. Sometimes upload 1 or 2 videos or shorts a week. That's a lot. Definitely can feel you on that. I've been putting out a lot of content. I did a playlist the other day and realized I have over 600 videos in a fairly short amount of time. Not to mention the shorts and not to mention the live streams. I think I have over 200 live streams now. Lewis says, March for me is a time to get stronger. Then April is rep month. That makes sense. And it's good to do things in a secular way. Richard said, I had a rower before. I just use the ski erg now. It's been a while since I've caught you on doing a long distance ski. They have a lot of online competition. I'm connected via internet with the Concept 2, so it doesn't matter your living place. Yeah, I'm really considering getting a rower. I think that might be the next thing. I've always enjoyed when I'd go to the gym and use the rowing machine. I used it every so often when I was training for kettlebell sport. It's a great form of cardio. A ski machine would be fun as well. I always think, some of the best athletes, amazingly so, pentathlon. Am I saying that right? Cross-country skiers who then shoot. Because nothing gets your heart rate up to the extent that cross-country skiing does. And then to be able to calm the mind, calm the thoughts, lower the heart rate, and take a shot and shoot well is absolutely amazing. And then you get back going again. Richard says it's big in CrossFit now. Yeah, I noticed that. So here's the first quote from Carlos Castaneda. Not the one I want, but it's pertinent as well. It was also a good opportunity for me to use the word pertinent. It doesn't come up in that many conversations I have. This is Don Juan giving advice to Carlos Castaneda. There is only time for decisions. A man of knowledge lives by acting, not by thinking about acting. Anything is one of a million paths. Therefore, you must always keep in mind that a path is only a path. If you feel you should not follow it, you must not stay with it under any conditions. Which is important to consider. Because often we commit to a path and our heart is telling us something else. This is sort of what Odom has alluded to. Right now it seems that his heart is saying, get back to acting for the sake of acting. Get back to growing for the sake of growing. Get back to putting the hands back in the earth and not worry about YouTube. So if you listen to your heart, that's the direction you got to go. Although I would certainly hate to lose the videos of what you do. But I think eventually you might find the sweet spot in between. I'm looking for the particular quote. Sorry for the radio silence here. Here we go. Destiny says, thanks for everything, Eric. I have to leave now. Bye for you, Richard, Odom, Lewis, and the chat. Much love. Thank you for stopping in, Destiny. I always appreciate it for your company and everything you add. So we'll call it a day too, about 35 minutes. But let me read this last quote. Before you embark on any path, ask the question, does this path have a heart? If the answer is no, you will know it, and then you must choose another path. The trouble is nobody asks the question, and when a man finally realizes that he has taken a path without a heart, the path is ready to kill him. At that point, very few men can stop to deliberate and leave the path. A path without a heart is never enjoyable. You have to work hard even to take it. On the other hand, a path with heart is easy. It does not make you work at liking it. That's the important thing. No matter what you do, burpees, ultra running, YouTube channel, does the path that you're on have heart? Does it have a heart? And you'll know it, because are you rejoicing when you do it? Are you feeling joyful? Are you smiling? Are you happy? Or are you trudging through it? And this isn't a matter of discipline. Some people might say grit your teeth and get it over with. That's not the point. You can grit your teeth and get over anything. And it doesn't mean that a path with heart won't have its difficulties. Of course it will. But difficulties are part of the joy, overcoming the difficulties. Richard knows this in ultra running. You don't finish a 100-mile race without suffering. Suffering is part of the joy. Lewis knows this in his long burpee sets. Suffering is part of the joy. Odom knows this. Destiny knows this. All of us do. So that's the important question. Does this path have a heart? That's a good place to end the conversation. Destiny, thank you again for joining. Richard, thank you very much. And thank you for all your help too, by the way. I really appreciate it. And Lewis, Odom, whatever you decide to do, I hope you keep visiting. And I will always be checking your stuff out. So, sorry, my cat is meowing at me. All right, guys. So, call it a day. Thanks again, and I'll see everyone later. I'm going to be doing my between 5 and 5:30 second live session where it's mainly just reading from my blog and then talking about it. Usually 10-15 minutes tops. So if anyone wants to join in, if you don't, skip it. I'll see you guys later. Take care.